How are we doing, guys? We're back again. It's Friday night. The Likely lads are back together. How are we all doing then, fellas? How are we doing? Corey, we'll start with you, mate.
Yeah,
how's things going for you?
Fantastic, mate. It's another week of being called a Leeds United fan, but nonetheless, I'm looking forward to it.
We all know you are. You know,
I don't know what it is. Listen, lads, a couple of weeks and it's West Ham Leeds, so then we'll see where it lies.
We might have to bin you off then. You might not be allowed back on.
Yeah, if you win that game, mate, I think this could be the penultimate. This could be the penultimate one. But you never know. Wayman, how are you doing, mate?
Oh, good, mate. Good. Bouncing off the walls. I'm on the monster. I'm on the birthday cake and that. I'm really tired, so I've had plenty of numbers, plenty of sugar. But I'm looking forward to another great weekend of football, Oscar, if I'm being honest. There's some good games.
Yeah, some cracking games we're all going to go through. We will be joined in a second by Paul from the Toffee Blues. I think he's just running a little bit late, but he will be joining us as well. We have an Evertonian joining us as well, guys. But as always, we're going to go through 5 of this week's games coming up, give our thoughts on them. But to start off with, guys, this week's sponsor, our main men. We are back here again. And look, check out this one from Football Prizes. We'll go try again. Our main man, the Brazilian Rafinha, hopefully the future Brazilian international. Guys, get on this. Rafinha signed and framed Leeds United shirt. There won't be many of these going about in a minute, guys. Make sure you get on them. $3.95. Make sure you get on it. Just over 5 days left on this one, guys. Make sure you get on it. Absolutely superb. We all know he's a magician. We all know he's absolutely superb. He's going to get better and better and better. Get on it now before it becomes... Get ahead of the curve and get on it now. Get an original. And let's go on to the next one as well, guys. We've got some wonder kids here, some absolute wonder kids. Our man, Erling Braut Haaland.
Wunderkid!
We all know future Leeds United centre forward, Erling Braut Haaland. Next year when we're in the Champions League, make sure you get on it. Of course, we all know about his dad, but this kid is an absolute wonder kid. Then to our right-hand side, we have got Jimmy Milner. And then, of course, how can we not forget, left-hand side, look at that. Just look at that for an absolute beauty. Custom-made, Marcelo Bielsa signed and framed montage. And, of course, along the bottom as well, Rafinha, as we've just mentioned, Pedro Neto, Tanguy Ndombele, some wonder kids on there. Get on it, guys. Even if you're not a Leeds fan watching this, even if you're one of Corey Kemp's followers, make sure you get on this because it's a bit of everything, guys. It's a bit of everything. Yeah, and I guess that's it, guys. Make sure
Black Friday deals as well. Black Friday, $3.95 for that Bielsa one. I'm having a bit of that, Oscar.
Get on it, guys. I mean, that Haaland one, flipping heck. You can't get much better than that. The most talented kid in Europe. Get on it, guys. Get on it.
Man.
So let's go on to the first game then, guys. Let's go on to the cracking first game. Absolutely fantastic game, this. One for the purists. West Brom versus Sheffield United. I mean... Oh, Matt, both teams haven't won the game yet, but at least, actually, no, it could just be a draw, couldn't it, guys? I was about to say one of them might get a win here, but you never know. It might just be another draw. But, I mean, Corey, what are you thinking about this one, mate? Is this too early to say? Is this a relegation 6-pointer, or is it just definitely a relegation 6-pointer? I mean, do you see anything other than a battle for these two teams now?
Yeah, obviously we played Sheffield United last week, and I didn't actually think they were that bad, if I'm honest.
No.
Like I had Howe on the West Ham way, and he was very downbeat, and obviously he felt a little bit like relegation beckons. But they create a lot of chances, Sheffield United. They really do, and they're lacking a real clinical striker in there. I know they brought Brewster in. Brewster only got 20 minutes against West Ham, which I was quite surprised about. I think they'll probably edge it over someone like a West Brom. I think West Brom's forward three, Grady, they brought in Carl Grant as well from Huddersfield, and Pereira, fantastic players. It's difficult for them because their defence is a little bit leaky. I think if Bilic can sort it out, it's easier said than done against Sheffield United, then he might have a chance in this game. But I think you're right, mate. I think they are kind of battling at the bottom, and they'll definitely be in and around come the end of the season.
I mean, Joe, there's kind of been a different tone with Sheffield United. I think you've only have to see it with Hal. Obviously we've had Hal on twice this season. Start the season and kind of a couple of weeks ago, and his tone about Sheffield United was very different. I think the feeling at Sheffield United seems very different. I think obviously Chris Wilder, of course, he's a legend at that club. But do you think now, if they lose that game tomorrow, all of a sudden you're looking at it and there are quite a few points adrift? Is he under pressure?
I wouldn't say he's under pressure, no. I think it's crazy to, not having a go at you, but any Sheffield United fan that was to ever say that Chris Wilder needs to move on, even though I'm not a blade, needs their edge checking for me. I think they'll do, if they do go down, it'll be much like a Burnley with Deitch, they'll keep the faith, they'll bounce straight back up. Yeah, and look, he's a blade himself. I don't think any fan of Sheffield United would be calling for Wilder to move on. Yes, they're under pressure, I guess, in the sense of, look, relegation could be on the cards. Look, I was listening to something earlier. Blades have 1 point from 9, and there's only ever 2 teams that have started as poor as that in the Premier League, and both of them got relegated. So that tells you all you need to know. But there's still something in there that makes me think Chris Wilder might get them out of it. But they have to get a positive result against West Brom. If they were to get beat by West Brom, then I just don't see where it comes from. But if anyone can do it, I've still got faith. I don't mind Sheffield United. And I think Wilder may pull them out of it. They're going to have to turn it around at some point, mate. But let's say if they drew, right, then I've seen a few people putting in the comments, we need a draw for our benefit. We're not going to be in that dogfight, so we don't need to worry about that. But if they were to draw, then is your bottom 3 nailed on, Oscar, with West Brom, Fulham and Sheffield United?
It feels done? Like it. You obviously saw Burnley, they got their first win last week. And you'd have to imagine Burnley, with what they've got in that squad, obviously Tarkowski, Ben Mee at the back, decent little midfield. Our man Locks Martin there, he's absolutely superb. He's a lovely lad, isn't he, Locks? Top man, hopefully the Foxes get back to winning ways after that disappointment.
We'll have to get him back, don't we? We'll have to get Locks back.
Yeah, we will. We'll get him back. Don't worry, guys. We will get our man Locks back on the channel. But obviously Burnley, obviously they got their first win in ages. I think that's psychologically, that's a massive boost. That, and you'd have to imagine Sean Dyche. Obviously got Barnes, Wood. You've got a few goal scorers there as well. You'd have to imagine Burnley will start putting a few wins together. And potentially, if Sheffield United lose that game tomorrow, they could be 7 points adrift already of the safety, if you know what I mean. And that's absolutely massive. But I think to talk about as well, Corey, obviously your ex-man, Slaven Bilic. I mean, we've spoken about him before the international break. He was under a little bit of pressure. I think West Brom, they seem to put a really spirited performance away at Man United. I thought they were really, really, I don't know how they didn't get anything from the game, to be honest. I think defensively, they look sharp. Going forward, they created chances. I mean, do you think it's fair Slaven Bilic is a little bit under pressure, or do you think he's definitely the man to get West Brom going again as well?
It's tough, mate, isn't it? I mean, it is just purely West Brom's squad for me. Like, the quality, I know I've said about the front 3, which I think is really impressive. Pereira as well this season, for me, has even been unbelievable. And I haven't picked up points, but so creative. And I feel like with Bilic, particularly at West Ham, he does instill that kind of self-belief, that enthusiasm that West Ham had for that 2015-16 season. And I think he can get West Brom going. And I wouldn't be surprised if he can get a few decent results. Again, I'm not going to look too much into that United game because United are so poor at times to sit back a little bit against West Brom. But certainly, I think there is enough about them. I think there's enough about both teams. I know that we've said that they'll be in and around that position, but it wouldn't surprise me if I ever sort of managed to get out of that. You've got to remember, I know Sheffield United could be 7 points off, but this season's so topsy-turvy. You just don't know what's going to happen. You could get a few wins and all of a sudden you'll be mid-table. So hopefully Slav does it because West Ham fans still love him.
Yeah, I think I'd have to go along with that, Joe, mate. I think you look at it and say, I think both managers, looking at it, if they do go down, you've got to look at both managers and say they're the best managers to get both clubs back up, aren't they, really? I think. But I mean, in terms of prediction, obviously it's one of them you look at and you think both teams are really struggling to score. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking it's a 0-0 kind of game. I just feel it's going to be scrappy. If one of them scores early, it might explode a little bit. But I don't know. What do you think, Joe? Do you think both teams are going to be that nervous not to lose this one?
Yeah, I mean, just on West Brom, I mean, they've been pretty unlucky. I mean, Man United lost by 1 goal. They played Chelsea, obviously, with 3-3 with Chelsea. I think they only lost 1-0 to Tottenham. So they've been pretty decent, to be fair, at times. And I do feel a little bit sorry for West Brom, but yeah, I mean, look, it's a must not lose for both, but it's a must not draw as well. A draw's just not good enough, I think you mentioned Burnley. Burnley's probably the only team in there that might drop into that four. I think they've been pretty woeful this season. I know, like you said, they got a win most recently. I don't know. I just look with Sheffield United, like Hal tells us every time he's on, they're only ever going to score one. So if West Brom go 1-up, then the most you can hope for is a draw. If West Brom score 2, then it's game over Sheffield United, isn't it? Because they just can't put the ball in the onion bag, you know. So and it's mad really because they have spent quite a bit of money on attacking players. You know, McBurney was what 20 odd, and then Ryan Brewster 20 odd, 24 was it or something like that. You know, so they have spent cash there, considering. Yeah, what we've paid for some of our players.
That's the thing. On the strikes alone, mate. On the strikes alone, you're talking about 60, 70 million pounds worth of investment. As Hal said, not one of them scored more than 6 yet. And that's that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? But we're just going to join. We're just being joined by our man Paul from the Toffee Blues. We're going to add him into the stream now. How you doing, mate?
Oh, we can't hear you, Paul. We can't
hear you, mate. Sorry.
I can see you smiling. I know it was funny. Whatever it was you said was funny because I seen that smile.
No, sorry. No, can you hear us, mate?
Can't hear Paul. While he plays with that Oscar, do you want to move us on or?
Yeah, well, give us a prediction then, Corey. What are you thinking going into this one?
I think, like you say, I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals in this game. I don't know. I don't want to say 1-0. I think it'll be 0-0. I think it'll be 0-0. It'll just be too tough. I think West Brom will sit back. I think Sheffield United, I know they've been poor getting goals, but I think they can transition to defence quite quickly, to attack as well. But yeah, it's going to be a 0-0 for me.
Fair enough. Let's move on to another game. Let's go on to.
Do you not want a score prediction off me? Like, am I boring you?
We're going 0-0 as well. Give him 0-0.
Yeah. No, I think Sheffield United are going to get the first win, man. They're going to get a win. Yeah, 1-0. Yeah.
I knew. I was thinking you're not going to be 2-1. I'll be screaming saying, "No, we don't score 2 goals." But yeah, we'll move on. We'll go on to Southampton Man United. Big one. This obviously Southampton superb form at the minute. 14 points out the last 6 games they've picked up. I mean, what are you thinking, Paul, going into this one? I mean, is it a Southampton the favourites going into this one, being at home?
Nah, still not.
Very light, mate.
I can't hear him at all.
Very light,
hear him
mate.
a bit.
Can you? Hang on. Give that another go, Paul. Unmuted. Let's go.
Very light, mate.
Nah, nothing.
Nah.
We'll let Paul have a mess about while we.
Look, Southampton Man United going into it. You know, obviously Man United we know kind of picks up a little bit. You know, Solskjaer's been under pressure. They put 3 wins together. They had quite a good win in midweek. But Southampton, Corey, I mean, you got to say, without Danny Ings, they're putting a good performance at Wolves, been getting good results. Che Adams has stepped up. I mean, what you thinking going into this? Southampton the favourites, or are we going a bit over the top there?
I'd say just on current form, obviously, because I think Southampton have been brilliant this season. And I think the thing is with Southampton, they tend to have one really bad game. I think I look back at that Leicester game, 9-0. I think this season against Spurs, and they adjust it a bit slightly. I like what Hasenhüttl was trying to do there with the high press. It's attractive to watch. Obviously, they won against Everton, which no one expected. Kept on picking up points. Che Adams comes in. You think they're going to fall apart without Danny Ings. I think someone that hasn't been mentioned is Theo Walcott coming back in, and I think he's added a little bit to that side as well. It's astute signings from Southampton. Great style of play. The only thing is against Man United, if you're going to play a high press against Man United, it does mean that leaves the counter-attack open. Yeah. So unfortunately, you could see United get on the counter, possibly score a goal or 2. And Yeah, it's disappointing. I'm not sure, but I think in the fixture last season it was 1-1, so you might be looking at a little bit of the same situation.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Joe, I think the thing is, as Corey's mentioned there, they like to press. They like to go for it. Any team they play, Southampton, they are going to go for it. They're going to press. They're going to get into Man United's faces. But do you worry for him slightly from that Tottenham game? Obviously, you saw Son absolutely ran right in that game. He got 4 goals. With that high press and not a lot of pace at the back, do you worry for him a little bit against Rashford and Martial, potentially in decent form as well? Do you worry from that perspective, or do you think they've got enough to turn Man United over at the upper end of the pitch?
No, I think Corey's back. I mean, Corey mentions it all the time, about like Man United. If you sit back and Man United have to break you down, it's where they struggle. However, when you're going to go at Man United, they're going to look to spring traps and obviously catch you on the counter. And Southampton are perfectly set up for that. Like you've mentioned, we've seen when they played Spurs. But Southampton are in amazing form. I don't know if it's just because it's Southampton, and I mean that with the best respect, but they sort of like go under the radar for me. Just for me personally. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but they've not been beaten in 7 games, and no one's really talking about them. Unless that's just me. I just sort of ignore them a little bit. But
they lost the first 2, didn't they? And ever since then, they've gone so many unbeaten. But you wouldn't know. I think obviously the talk has a lot been about Leicester, and obviously, looking at the table, Leicester, Spurs have kind of, even Villa have kind of had a little bit more attention than Southampton. I think they just seem to have just, as you said, completely gone ignored. But they're only actually a point behind Leicester now. All of a sudden, they're only actually 3 points off Chelsea and off Tottenham. Sorry, and
I think maybe the fact that they've won the last 3 at home, they are at home. Man United are very inconsistent. I think Southampton might edge it, if I'm being totally honest. But we just don't know where Man United, do we? Let's be honest. They're so inconsistent.
Every game away from home as well this season so far. In Europe and in the Premier League.
Been beat, did you say?
They've won every game. Yeah,
there you go. So
it's the home form that's been the issue. But I mean, I take it with a pinch of salt at the minute. The home and away element of games. It doesn't feel like anything 100%. At the minute. It doesn't feel like going anywhere. It doesn't feel like there's any kind of advantage to the home team. But you look at it and you just say, obviously, Solskjaer in a minute. Poch is still not being picked up. There was talk about Poch going to Dortmund. Dortmund's results are picked up. It's still there lingering, isn't it? It's still there lingering, Corey. Poch in the distance. But do you see Solskjaer still getting the season?
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. This always happens, doesn't it? It's always like he gets a great win against Istanbul in the week, and all of a sudden it's fantastic, and United are back, kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. Like, I obviously don't rate Solskjaer as a manager. I think tactically he's a little bit naive. He can't get his side to play in a different way. I've seen a lot of United channels talking about that midfield, which is such a problem area. I think now they've kind of settled on Bruno playing in there rather than Pogba, and it's actually benefited Bruno just being in there by himself. They struggle again if you've got Poch around and you get to February time. The thing is with United as a club, obviously it's a massive commercial. There's a massive commercial side to it, and I think if Solskjaer can get in and around that top 4, then they'll keep him on. And I don't think there's too much football, but from a football perspective, you'd have to put Poch in there, wouldn't you? Because I just think he would do wonders with that side. And listen, I don't really care. We've got United next week. I think, fingers crossed, they've still got Solskjaer in for them, because I think West Ham will have a lot of joy.
I say it with a lot of gritted teeth here, though, Joe. But I look at Southampton's manager, Hasenhüttl, and think, I really hope someone like Man United or Chelsea don't get him. If they sack, he feels like, because he's doing it domestically, he's that kind of like, I know Poch obviously has got what he's done at Tottenham, but if both clubs look at the here and now and they look at someone like Hasenhüttl, you think, out of all the managers in the league, obviously people like Klopp and Guardiola are ungettable for someone like Man United at the minute, but do you worry about that a little bit? That someone like a Hasenhüttl they might look at him if Southampton do win this game?
Yeah, I suppose so. There's no reason why he wouldn't be in the conversation. I mean, let's be honest, there is a lot now. And I think Arteta's slowly falling into that category as well, if I'm being honest. There's a lot of managers. And look, the amount of stick I give Lampard, let's be honest, out of the ones, he's doing the best at the moment, So, maybe we was maybe I was a little bit too early to judge. But I think with with Arteta, I was singing his praises. I think he's slowly falling into that category. So it might not be long before Arsenal are in that hunt for Poch as well. And I probably maybe he wouldn't go there because of the Spurs link. I'm not sure, and maybe Arsenal fans wouldn't take him. I'm sure they probably would, actually, in all honesty, if the chance are in. Yeah, of course, yeah, with what's going on there as well, because they don't look great either. I seen someone put he'll probably last the end of the season. Maybe he will. Maybe they wait until the summer to see where the land lies, because I think this season's just insane, isn't it? It's just a bit all over. So it'd be interesting to see. I think
to settle though a bit. Obviously that Liverpool-Leicester game. With the difference in the two. I think we all thought Leicester were getting something in that game, but it just felt like it settled. And all of a sudden, Tottenham are top. I know Tottenham. It's a bit unexpected, but it's kind of like you look at the top four at the minute. It's starting to settle down a little bit. I think. Obviously Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea, City slowly kind of bridging the gap a little bit, but. I think obviously we don't want to turn into MUTV chat here. Let's just get a quick prediction and let's move on from this one. Corey, what are you saying, mate, on this one?
I'm going to sit on the fence again. I'm going to go 1-0 in this one. I think Southampton will open up just enough for someone like Rashford or Martial to get a goal.
Go on then, Joe. What are you going?
I'm going 2-1 Southampton. Just before as well, guys, I'm just looking. I think there's about 80 people watching us, and we've only got 17 likes at the minute, guys. It's not good enough, man. Smash some likes on the video, will you? We need to get the likes so that more people come and join us and get involved in the chat. It's so disheartening for us. There's about 80 years watching and 17 people liking.
If we're not on 30 likes by 25 minutes past, I am pulling this stream. That's all I'm saying. So you've been warned. You smash that like button. Smash it, guys.
We might. You remember like Children in Need and that, and they'd like do stuff like, oh, don't. No, listen though. They go like, Dawn French. If we get 20 million, Dawn French might get a babbies out and all that sort of stuff. We're gonna have to start saying like, if we get 200 likes, Oscar will bloody get his 6-pack out or something. I don't know.
Oh man.
We're going to have to do something, man.
6-pack of lager, maybe, but yeah. Well, I'm going to go. I'm going to sit on the fence a bit like Corey as well. I'm going to say 1-1. Maybe even a 2-2, but I'll go 1-1. I think, I just think Southampton might just go for it a bit too much, get hit on the counter, but I think it's going to be a tight game. I can't see Southampton losing it. I can't see Southampton letting that one go enough to lose the game. I think they're going to get someone. I think Man United will be a little bit tired as well from the Champions League too. So, yeah, I'm going to go 1-1. Bruno can't keep bailing him out. He's going to bottle it tomorrow. I'm going to go 1-1. But let's go on to the next one. The second biggest game of the weekend, Chelsea versus Tottenham. And I mean, look at this game, lads. I look at this game.
It's a big one, this. It's a real big one.
It's massive. It is massive. For so many reasons, it's massive. Because Lampard and Mourinho, they've fallen out a little bit. They have fallen out a little bit. I think Lampard's very bitter towards Mourinho for the way he kind of left Chelsea. He didn't really get a testimonial, I don't think. It was kind of just literally end of the season, no kind of like final farewell, just you're out kind of thing. And that was the brutal nature of Mourinho's management. And obviously, Mourinho feels that Lampard's not kind of thanked him enough for his kind of the part he played in his career. So there's a little bit of needle between the two managers. Obviously, there'll be a handshake, but you can definitely see it, Corey, exploding at some point if a big decision happens, big tackle. VAR decision, you can definitely see it exploding on that touchline, can't you, mate?
Yeah, I completely agree. Listen, I hate both sides, but this is a massive, massive game. And I feel like Mourinho's going to get the better of Lampard. I think Lampard, he's had a few favourable fixtures. Yes, Chelsea have looked much better, but let's be honest, they played Newcastle, Burnley, someone else. And they score goals, and they've done it in Europe as well. But ultimately, I think it suits Mourinho, doesn't it? A low block, frustrate them a bit. What's interesting about Chelsea is with Timo Werner, I don't know if you saw it midweek, but he missed an absolute sitter. Missed one again for Newcastle. It's so bizarre to have possibly one of the best strikers in Europe playing a little bit deeper, making late runs and not being able to finish. And I think that's going to hurt him a little bit. I just think it's a perfect game for Tottenham. I really, really do. Especially with that high line from Lampard. They'll get a little bit exploited. They'll throw Kante in there to kind of give him a bit of defensive solidity, but I can just see a Tottenham win it. Really can.
I mean, Joe, I'm looking at this game. Do you feel that the winners of this game are going to be the true challengers to Liverpool for that title, or do you still think City, or do you think this one is like the contenders match, if you like? Are we talking WWE? Are we talking the contenders match here? We're not talking the championship match just yet, the title decider. Is it just the contenders game, this one? Probably the biggest game in terms of the top 4 so far this season, would you say, mate?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk WWE, I can talk all day. I'm 32 and I still watch that stuff, man. I love it. But yeah, I mean, it's a big game and it's a huge game. Mourinho, Lampard, like you say, there's no love lost there, which is quite surprising when you think what they did in their career together. But obviously, there's that little bit of needle. Obviously, Lampard's a bell as well, let's be honest. So, do you know, I was actually thinking, he's the first person, to beat Mourinho home and away.
I know,
which is mad. And
yeah,
and he beat him in the Carabao Cup, Derby, Man United as well. But
4 games, no defeats from Lampard against Mourinho. 3 wins and a draw. So far against Jose.
Know that Mourinho will know that. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. Stuff like that really gets to Mourinho. I don't know him personally, but you just know, don't you? We know that that's something Mourinho's thinking, I cannot afford to lose this. And I think that's the thing as well. I don't see this petering out. I think both managers have that little bit of arrogance about them that they'll want to win the game and win the game well. And I look, having said Lampard's record and that, I just hope Spurs win. I like Mourinho. I know that, some Leeds fans might not like that because he managed to cross the Pennines, but I've always liked him. I've always rated him, and he seems to have that little bit of magic back at Tottenham. It went away when he was at Scum. It went away, but now he's got that little bit of Mourinho magic back, and I fancy him to get a result like Corey said. They're too hot to handle at the minute going forward, man. They're just brilliant, aren't they?
Well, there's a massive pace difference, isn't there? You've got Son against Thiago Silva. I think Thiago Silva's obviously done well since he's got there, but Son running at him. You saw what he did against Diaz and Laporte last weekend, and I just look at it. I think it's going to be a similar game for me. I think obviously City had 70% of the ball. Didn't really create a proper chance in that game really until late on. I just see a similar kind of pattern to it. Maybe Chelsea have got that little bit informed strikers in terms of Abraham's on it at the minute. Ziyech is creating quite a lot. I mean, obviously, there's been other little bits and pieces said. Mourinho's come out of this today about Chelsea's squad depth. I love this little line. With such an amazing squad, to play James or Azpilicueta, to play Chilwell, Alonso or Emerson, to play Mendy or the most expensive goalkeeper in the history of the Premier League, Chelsea has an amazing squad. And there's a little grin as well to it as well. But that's Mourinho, isn't it?
Yeah.
He did it last weekend. He's saying that Sterling was going to be fit when he pulled out the international break. This is vintage Mourinho, isn't it? As Joe said. But go on then, Corey. Obviously going into this one, what's your prediction? Do you think Chelsea Tottenham might be tempted to sit back a little bit? You know what Mourinho's like away from home. He might try and park the bus and hit him on the counter. Do you just see that being the approach? Chelsea huff and puff quite a lot. What's your prediction here, mate?
100%. I mean, when I watched the Man City Tottenham game last weekend, it absolutely surprised me because City was scared to push their fullbacks on. And you don't see that. Against West Ham, they were bombing on, they were pinning us back. And I think they know that counter's there. Harry Kane at the moment is almost unplayable. Literally. It pains me to say because I absolutely hate Tottenham, but he's brilliant. He's shown he's more of a complete football player than I think most people give him credit for. And I just see him peeling off that Chelsea defence, playing it in behind for Son. Again, midweek, they've got Vinicius they can bring on. They've got Dele Alli even played quite well in that game. They've just got players now, Spurs. They've got a more complete squad. I think they'll get the better of Chelsea, probably 2-1 for me.
And do you think Lampard is... Does he have... Well, Johnny H says, but does he have... Does he have the... Does he have the nous as Pep does to maybe not push the fullbacks that far forward, or do you expect him to still go gun-ho, or do we see much like we did against Liverpool where he'll play really defensive? How do you think he'll take on the game?
I don't know. I think because, Oscar's saying, there's that edge between Mourinho and Lampard. Lampard might feel that he needs to get one over on him.
Yeah.
And listen, what we've learned about Lampard is at times last season he's played the side in the same way out of principle, even in games that he has gone and lost, and it has worked sometimes. Again, I suppose the best example was against City when Liverpool won the title. We sat deep, hit him on the counter. But I just feel like Lampard's now got that squad that he needs. And I just think all over the pitch, the midfield as well is looking really solid. I think he'll try and pin him back a bit, if I'm honest. I think he feels like he can do that now. He's got people like Havertz, Werner, Abraham as well, Giroud to come off the bench. I hate it, but they have got a good squad. But I just see Tottenham getting the better of him because Mourinho's a better manager. It's as simple as that.
Boom.
I mean, Joe, looking at this, I'm just hoping Tottenham here. I'm just hoping Tottenham just for all our sakes, you know. Because if Chelsea lose this game, as you said, you know, about Liverpool, you know, they lost that game and they bottled it, really. They did bottle it in that game. They tried to sit back, they got down to 10 men and didn't really go for anything after that. And obviously, when they went to scum away as well, if you remember, that 0-0 draw, when they were conceding left, right and centre, they kept the clean sheet and kind of went on a run after that. Again,
both managers in that game, you should have seen them at full time. They were like that, buzzing. Ollie and Lampard, like, yes, man, we got a point, man.
That's the thing, though. You know, are we going to see the same approach? What are you thinking, Joe, mate? What are you thinking prediction-wise? And just a slight side point as well. Obviously, I've just seen a bit of mention about player of the season so far, Son or Kane. I mean, what side of the angle would you be going on with that one as well?
I'm going to go Kane, just because, like Corey said, it's the adaptation of the game. Do you know what I mean? He's not just giving us goals now. He's going to get, 20 plus, you know, but he's also going to add same amount of number of assists. Do you know what I mean? He's like he's turning into the complete centre forward, like footballer, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's just been brilliant. And I think that's what edges it. But I do think Son doesn't get enough praise on the world stage because he's that good. I think Son's brilliant. But yeah, I mean, Kane, just for the ways the game's adapted, really. And this is a big shout out Mourinho as well. Who remembers, was it Merson who said that
Kane won't hit the numbers?
Yeah, Kane won't do well. But that was that other thing with Mourinho in that press conference when he came out and he went, Diego Militao, boom. Didier Drogba, boom. Like reeled off all the numbers. Etu, boom. And it was like, go on, Mourinho, you know? And he's changing Kane, you know? And that takes a lot, because I'm not sure a lot of managers will look at Kane and just be like, right, give it Kane, he scores the goals. But he's adapting his game, you know? And he's brilliant. But the game itself, I'm just really, really hopeful for a Spurs win. I don't care how it comes about, because know that if Lampard gets it, we're going to have to deal with another. And it's also in the build-up to the Leeds United Chelsea game. And honestly, Corey, like, all you will hear next week in the run-up to that game is how wonderful Lampard is, how much of a cheat Bielsa is, because that'll be the narrative, and it'll be like, you know, Chelsea are flying, Lampard's so great, and they're going to stuff late. I know, so I need him. I need him.
This next week or so.
It's going to be torture. It's going to be torture, though, bro. It will, because previously in the Championship, it got enough exposure anyway. But the fact that it's now on the Premier League stage, it's going to be everywhere, you know? And
it's almost 2 years ago now as well. It's not,
exactly. This is what I mean.
18. We're talking 2 years now.
I can't be asked, he's spying again. Ooh, that sort of like guff, man. It's like, give over, man, will you? So hopefully he gets beat. And I need him to get beat, because they need to get beat. Yeah, Spurs, 4-0.
I'd take it, mate. I'd take it all day long.
Yeah,
but I think the only thing I would say about Chelsea is that goalkeeper, you know, Mendy. I mean,
good signing.
Yeah, I just look at it and think, if Tottenham get the chances, you know, I think obviously the goals Tottenham scored, I don't know what Ederson was doing. Ederson was like, he was like, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. He was just like racing out. It was like a spider was in his net or something. He just racing out, like not even thinking about what he's doing. And I don't think Mendy makes the chance as easy as what Ederson did. But I've got a feeling Chelsea will get something here. I'll go 1-1. I'll be conservative. I'll go 1-1. I'll say Tottenham might sit back a little bit, but at some point, Son or Kane's got to do something in this game. I can't see him not doing anything. But, you know, I think 1-1, it keeps it quite nicely balanced then, you know, in terms of the title race. But it probably takes the wings off both, I think. Yeah, I think both have still got a long way to compete with Liverpool. I've always said about Tottenham, I think that defence, you know, I think the big thing as well for Tottenham is Alderweireld is out of this game. And that's what makes me think there might just be one mistake by that Tottenham back four that leads Chelsea scoring.
Who plays at the back then? Will it be Dyer?
Apparently will come in.
Who?
Joe Rodon will apparently come in.
And Dyer.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Is that a defence that can go to Stamford Bridge and keep the sheet? I don't think it can. I think Abraham against Rodon, I think he's going to bully him, to be honest. I just think it'll be quite a good game, to be honest. I think Tottenham probably have the better chances, but Chelsea, Tottenham, that back four, I just think there's a mistake in that back four. So I'm going to go 1-1. But if anyone's going to win it, it's going to be Tottenham for me. I don't see Chelsea. I don't see Mourinho letting Lampard get a proper one over on him again. But if it's 4-0, mate, honestly, Mourinho's going to be running down that touchline like years ago. It's going to be the biggest shithousery you've ever known in mankind if Mourinho wins that game 4-0, and I'm all for it. But let's go on to another London club. Let's. I think we know a West Ham fan, don't we, Joe?
West Ham. We won the World Cup in 1966. I'll have you know.
Won a playoff final in 2012. It's all right.
But mate, things are looking good. I know it's not been easy the last couple of games. I know you've made it difficult against Fulham and Sheffield United, but you've won both games. I think it's 11 points out of 6, I believe. A lot of clean sheets. Things looking up at the Hammers at the minute.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. Like I said, it was a litmus test really with Sheffield United and Fulham. I know it sounds a little bit silly maybe as an opposition fan, but for us, it's always with West Ham, you play the teams we should beat, we always struggle. And I think the difference is, against Sheffield United and Fulham, we were patient. We created chances. We didn't take all of them, but you just feel like with West Ham, we are going to get something eventually. I mean, I've got to say, credit to David Moyes. I'm not quite sure how he's managed to turn this around, given the squad that we had before the start of the season. Absolutely slating Aaron Creswell, Masuaku, completely transformed, and he's created the perfect system. And I'm sure you as Leeds fans know, when you've got players in the right system, it just works. And listen, we're going to this Villa game relatively confident. I think there's both avenues for both teams to get goals here, but I'm glad I'm not what I was before the start of the season going, Grealish and, Ollie Watkins. I think West Ham have got a real chance in this game. I really, really do. But no question it's going to be a tough one. Really tough. Aston Villa are a quality side going forward.
I mean, Joe, I don't like to talk about a fantasy football team, but I'm going to do anyway. I
think I know your team. I know your team inside out.
Head, Birmingham Ronaldinho, whatever they're going to call him. I put him in the team, and he just bottles it. He turns into Luke Varney on the left wing. I mean, we've obviously spoken about Son and Kane. We've got to admit, I've got to put my hands up. He's been awesome this season, hasn't he, Grealish? He has massively picked that team up. But you saw that from that defeat against Brighton. I looked at the goal. I don't know if you saw the goals in that game, mate, but the goal they let in for Danny Welbeck running through. I don't know. If you leave that space for Mikel Antonio, Bowen, Haller, etc., you're going to concede the goal. I mean, what do you think to Villa? Do you think they've just been lucky with the way the games have fallen? Do you think they're not that great? Or what's your genuine opinion on Villa? Is Dean Smith, obviously Dean Smith, the greatest manager in the world at the minute? I mean, what's your genuine opinion? Are they better than what we give them credit for? Or are they just having a decent start and they're going to fall away?
Yeah, just having a decent start for me. Look, I think Villa fans maybe think they're a little bit hard done by, but I don't. I think the media are lavishing so much praise on Villa and on Dean Smith, and I think a lot of it's unfounded, if in my own opinion, because I don't rate Dean Smith at all. Even at his time at Brentford, just wasn't keen on the man. I think that's what it is. But yeah, there's very much that Villa I don't get a fair shake. I think that's the opinion I get from the fan base, but I don't think it's true. I think they do, and I think they get a lot of praise heaped at their feet.
As we said before, more than Southampton have got.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Yeah. So yeah. On Villa, though, I mean, I know they're doing great, but it is also a bit inconsistent, like you say. Like they get some cracking wins. They beat Liverpool. They lose to us 3-0. They beat Arsenal. They then get beat by Brighton. And Brighton are a good side, but they haven't been able to pick up consecutive results or a lot of results. They've just been playing really well. So there is that little bit of inconsistency there as well. But I'm just not. I'm not really keen on them, Oscar.
You still see us from above them?
Yeah, Yeah. Over the course of the season, yeah. I do. I mean, just on the Villa thing, I think it's funny. Like you mentioned, Dean Smith, and we spoke about it last night. But just this chat that he should be up there in the conversation. I mean, let's not forget that they stayed up on a technicality. This is the frustrating thing for me. If that goal goes in from Sheffield United, which it rightly should have, then they're down. But just Corey, is Antonio back now? Fit, fully ready, ready to go? Yeah.
Don't know, man. He put something on his Instagram saying he's ready. So I'm definitely going to be in the squad. I was actually gutted he wasn't, ready for Sheffield United. And I just think he would have really, really hurt them. Yeah. Having said that, I think Sebastian Haller obviously got his goal, and he's kind of one of the players for West Ham that he divides our fan base.
Mate, I mean, why can't he smack? Like when he scored that goal, I was like, "What's up with you, mate?" He was like that.
Honestly, mate, I genuinely don't care as long as West Ham win. But I think Haller is one of them players that I just thought he was never going to adapt to this side. And there is that argument that he doesn't put enough effort in. I saw a little bit of an improvement for him against Sheffield United. But again, if you've got Mikel Antonio like fit and raring to go, particularly against Villa, I watched the Brighton game, particularly that Welbeck goal. They struggle. That transition when they've got to get back in defence, they can't do it. They try and throw bodies back, and they're not good enough at doing it. They haven't got the players with the pace to get back. So Mikel Antonio, Said Benrahma has to start. I've done it in my preview. It's getting to the point now where it's like, please stop leaving him on the bench. He's perfect to start. I think Bowen, Benrahma, Antonio, that's frightening in terms of pace. And on the counter, mate, I think we've got a great chance.
And there you go. There's another one, Oscar. West Ham aren't getting the praise. Someone else put it in the thing.
I mean, would you agree with this? I mean, what I've got to say is that, lads, I mean, David Moyes has had has been a figure of fun from the media, from other fans for quite a long time. But give him credit. He's been there just under a year now. West Ham were in massive trouble, relegation-wise. So, I mean, you probably agree with me there, Corey. I mean, before he got the job, there was a problem there at West Ham in terms of a lot of the players weren't seeming to get on. A couple of players being linked and moved away. I mean, do you think Moyes has gone underappreciated at the minute, mate? And is he rebuilding his career?
I don't know, man. I wouldn't go that far. Listen, I think I was super critical of him, particularly coming back to West Ham. I wasn't sure he was the right man to come in, but I think, listen, he's got a great... West Ham have got a decent squad. There's no doubt he's inherited Declan Rice, a couple of other players as well, Mikel Antonio, brought in Jared Bowen. I think we're building on a bit of an identity. I think we can sit back and hurt teams on the counter. We're not going to play this lovely possession-based football. It isn't going to be as attractive as Leeds, but we get results. That's the main thing. And I think if we get to the end of the season and we're top 10, you've got to give him a new deal. Because I think he deserves it. And fair play to him. He's managed to turn around his managerial career, particularly after the amount of stick he got at Sunderland and Man United and Real Sociedad. So fair play to him.
I mean, obviously, Declan Rice is always the big talking point. I mean, is that the key battle for you? Declan Rice against Grealish? Do you think Moyes is going to give Rice that task of just stopping Grealish at all costs? Do you feel that's going to be the approach in this one?
Yeah, Grealish is such an interesting player because I think he's underrated in terms of his ability to take on and beat a man in terms of pace, and he's shown that he can do that. He can come deep, pick the ball up and drag you out of position. He can do so many different things. I think Rice will have a job, particularly against Villa. They're going to push their whole team up. Villa's high line is ridiculous at times. It's almost, you can't... They're missing Ross Barkley, which I think is a massive favour for us. I think that sort of relieves the pressure. But yeah, I'm not saying I'm not worried about Jack Grealish, but I just think West Ham can soak it up a little bit. And I think we can nullify him. But you never write that guy off because some of the stuff he's shown this season has been unbelievable.
Do you know what as well, though? I said it, I remember saying it in my preview. Stop Grealish, stop Villa. And a lot of Villa fans commented and said, that was last season, not this season. We've got McGinn, we've got Barkley, we've got this, we've got that. And we stopped Grealish and we stopped Villa. So, regardless of what they say, especially, but on their day they can be great. Let's not forget. But I think you'll beat them. I think you'll beat them on Monday. It's Monday night, right?
Yeah, Monday Night Football, mate. First of the season.
Go on, give us a specific prediction, then. Come on, let's give us a score, then, mate.
Go on, Corey.
No, I reckon 2-2. I reckon there's goals in this game. I think both of us are going to go at each other. I think we'll concede. It'll be too much for us. Pressure they're going to put us under. But Someone from my preview said Villa don't get draws. Maybe so, but I just think it's going to be that game. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be good to watch for a neutral, but yeah, I'm not sure we'll get the win. If we get a win out of this, I mean, I'll be buzzing. Can you imagine where we are in the table after that? So, but yeah, happy with a draw if we can get one.
Buzzing, man. It's great to hear, Corey, because I remember chatting to you before the season started, and you were like, I think we might get relegated.
Honestly, genuinely.
Week on week, it's just got gradually. You've got to think.
It's still there.
The first week.
Back of my head, I'm still thinking, God, this is going to end at some point. And I'll do the previews where I get other fans to come on after the games, and I think, God, I don't know how much I can do this, because Hal last week was despondent. Imagine if it's me. I'm going to be like fuming. So, yeah, it's amazing, mate.
People don't see before we come on air. Corey walks in like Vinnie Mac, like that, and sits down in his chair. But I'm going to go for 2-1. 2-1 to the Hammers. 2-1 to the Hammers.
Yeah, I've got to echo that, mate. I think 2-1 as well. I just think West Ham have got too much, mate. Too much, mate. You look at Antonio. Antonio coming off the bench. Ben Rama coming off the bench. People like that. 4-0s. We're not even mentioning 4-0s. And that switch to a back three as well. Rice, I fancy to do a job on Grealish. I think Rice, to be fair, last couple of weeks has massively upped his game. I think he has really shown those levels he was kind of at a couple of years, not a couple of years ago, about 18 months ago when he was first getting in that England squad. And fair play to him. I think what's happened with Rice is, I mentioned this to just the last one on West Ham, mate. I mentioned to Joe last night, I think it's massive for Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice in a way, both their individual form this season, because they know Jordan Henderson's not going to start this for England at the Euros. There's no way Jordan Henderson's not going to start. It's one of those two, surely, mate, next to him, you'd imagine.
Yeah, look, I just think with Calvin, I don't think there needs to be an argument as it's Declan or Calvin. I think, against Belgium second half when Calvin and Declan played, I think they've proven they can play together. That's not a conversation. I think there's worse defensive midfielders in there. Harry Winks is one. For me, he shouldn't get near the side. If he's even thinking about playing Eric Dyer in defensive midfield, you've got to look at the two. I just think Declan maybe is a little bit further on, just purely because of the Premier League experience he's played.
Kick him out.
No. Listen,
this is Corey's last appearance.
but you say like Calvin, he's come back into that Leeds side, and you look good again. And you need that player. And listen, England need good defensive players, and I think they can both do a job. Absolutely, if Hendo's not playing.
Fair play. No, fair play to Corey. I think Corey's the only West Ham fan I think we can have an educated, nice conversation about between the Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice debate, because my word, when Calvin has a good game, it explodes sometimes, doesn't it? It explodes. But fair play. We're going to go on to the biggest game of the weekend. Everton, Leeds. Obviously, Paul, unfortunately, has not been able to join us. He had a bit of issue with his sound on this one, guys. I apologise for that one. But Joe, we'll go to Corey first. Obviously, we spoke a lot about it last night. From a neutral, mate, are you looking at this game? Me and Joe said yesterday, goals. Are you just looking at this game and thinking goals?
Yeah, definitely. There's goals in this game. I think both teams have shown a little bit of defensive weakness, if I'm honest. At the same time, Everton are a weird one. They are, for me. They brought in a land. You think he shores it up a bit. They can see goals against Fulham. They haven't sorted it out. I think they tried to go towards it to a 3-5-2 with wing-backs against was an odd thing to do. They've not got Digne in there, like I said in the comments last night. No Digne, no Coleman. That's a huge loss for them. I think Leeds. I look at Bamford and listen, he's not the quickest, but I think his movement is generally pretty good. And I think you saw that against Villa and other teams. Unlucky against Palace with obviously the hand that was offside for no reason, but I just think you get the better of them. I think there's goals, but I just think you edge it. Phillips is back in now. Bit of solidity. Click for me, and I've got to say this. I actually really rate Click, and I don't think I've seen him, against Arsenal. I thought he was fantastic. One of them players, he plays through the lines. Sometimes you see these players that just play it sideways. He literally, every time he gets that ball, his first thoughts get forward. And I think that's why you're so good on transitions, because he's the guy that kind of starts it. Yeah, listen, I think you lot will win. It'll be entertaining nonetheless.
Well, after a kick up the backside, we can confirm Corey will not be leaving us. He's more than redeemed himself there. Yeah. Fair play to the man. But Joe, we did talk about obviously Coleman and Digne being missing, but it's almost like Coleman, Digne missing. It's like the equivalent of Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, Walker, Cancelo being out for Man City, it's a massive, massive loss to their balance, isn't it? Wouldn't you say, mate?
Yeah, 100%. Like Corey mentioned, I know I spoke to Sarah during the week, and she said like Alex Iwobi had played there, which I was like, what, Iwobi, right wing back? But apparently he had a great game there. I'm not sure who will fill in at left back. If he does go with the three at the back, I'm not so sure. I think he tries to make it a little bit 4-4-2-y. Do you know what I mean? A bit more rigid against Leeds. We'll have to wait and see. But listen, Digne's a massive loss. He's involved in so much, and I think it makes Luke Ayling's job at the weekend a lot easier. The fact that Digne's out of there, because we know that Ayling likes to get forward. He probably touches the ball more in the opposition box than he does in his own. And the fact that he doesn't have to be wary of Digne as much, well, at all. I don't know who comes in. Obviously, it's still someone there, but it just won't have the same vigour as Digne. So that's a massive plus. And like was mentioned as well, Coleman. But I agree. I do think there will be goals. Like Dominic Calvert-Lewin's like 15, is it? 15 goals so far?
15 and 12, I think it is.
Really?
It's insane.
Really?
It's like Haaland numbers. It's it is like Haaland numbers off.
And Richarlison's brilliant. Whenever he's in the side, he's done well. I think the key thing is how well the individual battles are. In our man marking system. Does Dallas or Alioski, whoever starts at left back, they're going to have to track James Rodriguez. He's not going to stay in that position. He's going to, be all over the pitch. So that player's going to have to track him. And we've seen, when the boys are on it, if they're given a task to do. I always remember Stewie Dallas's performance against Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen was basically carrying Hull at the time. He was their only threat, him and Grzycki. And I just remember, I know it's a different level of player, although Bowen, you could arguably say not so much, because he's absolutely smashing it in the Prem, and big shout out for him. But he did a job on him that day, if you remember, Oscar. And I think that's key, is that we need to, because I've seen a lot of, and I've heard a lot now that people from Everton fans saying, look, if James isn't quite on it in terms of if he's not winning that battle, then he's not going to be up for the fight, if that makes sense. And maybe he doesn't have as much of an impact on the game. I'm not sure. I might be wrong. I was listening to something earlier, and they were talking about how Oriol Romeu had done a job on James Rodriguez in the Southampton game. And he was pretty dire in that game. And obviously Southampton won the game 2-0 in the end. So I think if we can do a job on James Rodriguez, obviously I think Everton will score just because of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. They're going to get opportunities, especially from set pieces as well. That worries me as well, Oscar. I know they are Pickford in goal, but we're not great at set pieces. But I think in terms of, but we're also not great at defending them, I don't think. And when you've got someone like, go on, mate.
You do lose Digne's delivery. Digne
is
their
a good point. Yeah.
So I don't know who would take him. Probably James, wouldn't it be? I mean, James hasn't got a bad left foot. You know what I mean?
No.
It's the worry, isn't it, mate? It is definitely the worry on.
We're gash. We're gash at attacking set pieces and defending set pieces, and I think we've seen that against Crystal Palace, where I forget who it was who scores the first goal. He's basically beat both of our centre backs, one behind him, one in front of him. We're just really poor at defending set pieces as well as attacking. So I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin's someone to be wary of, because he's got a leap like Ronaldo at this moment in time, and he's brilliant in the air. And he's always in the right spaces, in and around that 6-yard box. So someone to be wary of. I think they will score, but I think we'll create a lot as well. I know we didn't score against Arsenal, but there'll be that little bit of needle amongst the players thinking we need to be, scoring, and banging it in the net, basically, because they were so unlucky the other night. Hopefully Rodrigo starts from the start as well, and I think we'll look a totally different animal. That's the thing, isn't it? Like the team selection. Yeah. And we said yesterday, we won't be surprised whatever happens. Whether Alioski's playing left back, Stewie Dallas keeps his place, we keep the same team. Rodrigo starts from the off. It does feel like 10 of the 11 places
done, signed, sealed, done kind of thing. But that one place, it just feels like, who the thing. It's quite exciting, to be fair, in a way. There's not been many games going into it where under Marcelo Bielsa, where I've kind of been genuinely thinking, what team are we going to play tomorrow? Kind of thing. It's quite exciting, James, from that kind of respect, And I'd love to see Rodrigo start this game. I'd love to see Rodrigo start this game. Click Rodrigo together. I think obviously, Corey, I'm not sure if you're aware though. Again, Bielsa, big in praise from Matthijs Klick, saying that he could play for any team in Europe. I mean, would you subscribe to that, mate?
No, I don't know if I'd go that. I was surprised last night when you lot said he's 30. I was thinking he's 30. I honestly had no idea. I mean, I know what Bielsa's getting at. I really do. Every player needs a player that can play through the lines and can push that ball forward. I don't know. I mean, he does. To be fair, I think he could play for a top 6 side. I really do. What top 6 side doesn't need someone to move the ball forward? And I'm really impressed. I'd love him at West Ham. He's obviously never going to come to us, but he's the type of player that I'd love because the transition, your team's so reliant on it. You need it. And he's that guy when he's not. And I remember, obviously, when Calvin got injured and he played a bit deeper, doesn't work. It just doesn't work as well. But yeah, a good player. Has he played for you? How long has he played for Leeds?
About 3-4 seasons.
Really?
Third season this. 2017 he signed. I mean, he didn't play the first season. If it's the craziest thing of all.
No, fourth, because he get a TC.
Yeah, but I mean, it was half a season there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, because he loaned him out. Yeah.
I mean, it still makes my blood boil. That it still makes me angry.
Basically, Corey, he played in the Carabao Cup against. Who was it against? Was it Burnley?
Burnley, and then he slipped against Cardiff a couple of weeks later, and then he kind of never got.
He bombed him out, didn't he?
He didn't play again after that, and it was crazy. Obviously we said about Connor Shaughnessy went in there, and Kane played, and obviously KP wasn't quite at the level he's at now. Vieira was a little bit inconsistent. It was madness, really. It was madness, and it's dark days then, but we move on. But
I think that's why Bielsa is in the conversation for the top 5 managers. Obviously a lot of people were getting the ump about that, but when you look at the side that he inherited, the players have improved massively. And how many managers we can sit here and say some managers put in a system and it works. Some players just purely. The fact he's done it with both improved players and the system as well. I think that's why he's so highly regarded.
That's what I mean. Like Jordan says, he cost us 1.5 million. It's absolutely insane. And he's arguably our best player this season. And he looks so impressive. I look at the Arsenal team and he'd slot straight in there. He's better than Ceballos and Xhaka.
Arsenal, you know what I mean? Did you see when against Leeds, he was like, oh, do you know what? I'm going to play like a 4-2-4 because I'm going to play a bit more progressive. I'm like, mate, that doesn't work if you don't have a midfield that play into the forward net. So, Tabas Pulis.
I love that.
But that's the thing, isn't it? But the last thing, just before I'm going to get your predictions, I mean, would you kind of alluded to it a bit there, Corey. Did you think it was fair? Honest answer, do you think it was fair Bielsa was in that reckoning? Would you have said, if you had picked before they were announced 5 managers, would Bielsa have been one of those managers beforehand?
I'd say no, but if you look at the criteria, right, Zidane got in there. Now, Zidane didn't have a great season last season. I want to understand the rationale behind these decisions. I get Hansi Flick. He's won the Champions League and he obviously won the Domestic League. I get Klopp because of the Premier League. That's fair enough. But I suppose there is an argument for Bielsa. I think people being overly frustrated with Bielsa is because they rate people like Lampard. And you see the journalist Matt Law come out and say, that this is ridiculous. They're more frustrated that their manager's not getting in place. But if you ask any football fan, he deserves it. And like we've spoke about, he's transformed Leeds completely. They've come up. They look competitive in every game. Yeah, all right, you get the odd 4-1. But you as fans are enjoying some really decent football. I think he deserves to be there. Other than David Moyes, he definitely deserves to be in the top 5.
This is the thing, though, that someone actually said Dean Smith should be in that conversation. That's what I can't get my head around. That's crazy talk. Lampard's crazy talk.
If Dean Smith should be there, then Moyes should definitely be in there.
Who said Dean Smith? Who said Dean Smith? Is that like a journalist, or is that just Villa fans?
It could have been. It might have been Gabby.
That's a joke, mate.
So-
Like, honestly, that is a big joke. Like you've said, they stayed up purely because the goal line technology wasn't working. So
Did not Matt Law say Lampard, Wilder, and Smith? Yeah, Matt Law said it as well. Yeah, Lampard, Wilder, and Smith. But someone found a tweet from 2013 where he was absolutely creaming over the fact that Chelsea were looking at Bielsa. And it was on a BlackBerry, and someone trawled all the way through his tweets to find that one tweet where he'd said, Chelsea are after Bielsa, he's coming above Pep and everything, and I really want him to come to England. And I was like, now look at you, you know? Yeah.
just block him, mate.
Yeah, just sour tears, isn't it? Sour tears, man.
Right, before Joe wants to go on a Lampard rant, let's get your predictions anyway, because that's next week. Basically, every single minute of every day, we're going to release content about Frank Lampard now.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
But yeah, all right then, Corey. Let's start with you then, mate. Let's get a. I know obviously you said we're going to win, but what scoreline are you going to go with there, mate?
I've sort of gone back and forth with it. I think it'll be 2-0 Leeds. I do. I think Everton have lost an edge. They have lost an edge. I know Richarlison makes a huge difference, but honestly, if you watch Everton this season without Digne, when they took Coleman out that side, they can't create anything on the right. If they can't create anything on the left and right and get that ball forward, they're going to be pushed back. And I think Leeds will get a bit of joy. I think Bamford's going to cause them some issues as well. Saw Rafinha play for Leeds as well. Looks exciting. You can get him on. I think you'll do the business 2-0.
And Joe, are you still sticking with? I can't remember. Was it 2-1
I didn't give one, mate. I didn't give one because I was uncertain.
2-1 yesterday. I'm sure you said.
Did I say 2-1? Nah, you said 3-2, and I was uncertain. I'm going to change it anyway. If I did say 2-1, I'm going 3-1 now. I'm going 3-1. Dominic Calvin will score. DCL will score, but Jordan Dix, as I was thinking about, I did write 3-2, and then I looked at Jordan Dix's 3-1. I'm like, yeah, no, go on. I'm going to have a bit of that. So I'm going to go 3-1 Leeds United.
I think there's a lot of confidence, isn't there? You look at the comments, a lot of people who think we're going to do the business tomorrow. And I've got to say, James, obviously James on his day is unplayable. He's probably his ceiling is a lot higher than people like Grealish for me. I think on his day he is absolutely unbelievable. But I look at Calvin coming back in. You said before about Stewie Dallas, the job he does on left-footed right wingers. He does a superb job on them. Bowen cutting in on his left. He just completely cut that out. Dallas, and obviously, I know you've got Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, but if you stop James, kind of the main source of creativity because you've got no Digne, you've got no Coleman. Realistically, James is the main person who makes it all happen. Don't get me wrong, Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, massive goal threats, but if you stop the initial supply line, I think you do stop a lot of Everton. I think if you stop that right-hand side, whoever plays at right back, depending on what system they play, I think you give yourselves a massive chance. But for me, that left-hand side of Everton's, you got Ayling on the overlap, Rafinha, Click dropping into half spaces, Rodrigo loitering around the box. I just think we can cause havoc on that side of the pitch, And I'm still going to stick with a 3-2, I'm still going to stick with a 3-2. I think we probably will keep one on the set piece. Click will score one for distance because Pickford just basically throws one in the net every single game. Watch him have an absolute wonder game now and have heroics, but he won't because he's I think obviously Bamford will be in his ear as well. Bamford loves to wind up anyone who's around him, and that's the thing. If you get a reaction from that, I think we win this game. To be honest, guys, I think 3-2. I'm going into this with fairly big confidence, but I guess that's about it in terms of the predictions. But just one more thing as well. I just saw a couple of comments coming in. I mean, obviously, tragic news yesterday, Corey. Obviously, we heard about the death of Maradona. Me and Joe covered that quite a lot. I mean, just very quickly, what does he mean to you as a footballer? Is he one of the greatest of all time for you, mate?
I mean, he's a genius, isn't he? You see all the clips of him. Someone pulled up the clips today of the '86 World Cup, and I think he laid it on a plate to some Argentinian player. He absolutely skied it, and he was in a team that was really poor, and he dragged them to a World Cup. These days, you don't see players that can do that, literally drag teams. I know Messi can do it, Ronaldo can do it. That's the real sign of a great when they can do that type of thing. I think like you boys covered, I think he was on these pitches with the space, the Premier League teams kicking around these days. I think Maradona, can you imagine the goals he would get? But he was just an exciting player. Sometimes with the best players in the world, it's about goals. Sometimes it's about performances. And I just think Maradona was elite, seriously elite. Really, really sad news. He's only 60 as well. So
Yes, young in it really. I watched him. I actually last night watched because it's free for it's on 28 on 4OD. You know, the Maradona film.
Oh yeah.
Superb.
Yeah. Well, I watched it last night. I said, you know what, I'm going to watch it, and yeah, just what he did with that Napoli side, some of the free kick he scored against Juventus and stuff. Like it was just, some of the goals were special.
He had the most catchy song ever as well, didn't he? Like the mama, 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 mama. It's such a catchy song as well. He's there just dancing along to it. And his fashion choice as well was superb as well. It was like way ahead of the time as well. But superb, lad, superb. But obviously we do the quiz, but unfortunately our guest is not being able to join us so much. So what we're going to do then, lads? Is Joe going to have another pop here? Is he going to have
another pop? Yeah, I want another pop. I think what we're going to do moving forward, like I think the best thing is we'll get the regulars back, man. We'll have a chat with Hal, we'll have a chat with Locks. You know, we've got Corey. I think if we just make it the regular gang, then we don't have to mess about, and I think it works really nicely. And then we can think of another format for the quiz, maybe moving forward, maybe. We each take a turn in asking some questions, and first one to answer. I don't know. We'll rethink it for those that liked a bit of all smart, aren't we? But I'm willing to have a go at the quiz tonight.
Well, just for the last time, we'll give the jingle one last run out. Joe Wayman taking on.
It's that time again. It's time for All Smart Aren't We? With your host, Yanni Alieski.
I need that.
I couldn't find the glasses. I had to find something. I had to do something, guys. I had to do something.
Just before you think as well, I've seen people ask a few nights now, and Harry's just asked as well, where is Danny? Danny had a lot of things going on, and just decided to step away. Came away from social media and that. Didn't want much of a fanfare or anything. Really grateful for the time he was with us. But it just wasn't for him, and he's got a lot of work commitments and a little family of his own, and that he's a top guy. We still speak, but it just wasn't for him. If that's it. Yeah. Okay. Go on, Oscar. Everyone keeps asking, so I just thought I would address.
No, of course, can only echo that. We still massively, speak all the time. And it's just Danny's decision. We totally respect that. At the end of the day, personal life always has to come first, and that's the main thing. But you're going to take it on. You're going to take the quiz on, mate.
Yeah, I'll give it a go, mate. Yeah.
Can you do the timings on this one, mate?
Hang on. I'll get yourself ready.
Joe, I've made some Spanish questions.
Mate, I've got no chance in. My knowledge of Premier League and English football is poor as it is, and my memory's so bad. So the fact you're going to ask me Spanish, I mean, don't forget. I said Robin Van Persie last week, and it was like 1999 or something like that. I just panicked.
Corey, good on time, mate?
Yeah, good on time. Ready?
Let's go. Mo Salah joined Liverpool from which Italian club?
Roma.
Correct. The Stadium of Light is home to which English
Sunderland.
club? Correct. France beat which country 4-2 in the World Cup final?
Netherlands.
Incorrect. Which striker finishes as the leading goal scorer in the Premier League for 3 consecutive years between 2003 and 2006?
Aguero.
Incorrect. Which Englishman has managed the most Premier League matches?
It's got to be Roy Hodgson.
Incorrect.
Wow.
Who is the only player to have won trophies at both Man United and Liverpool?
Player?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Michael Owen.
It is. It's correct. Which player was the top scorer at the 1966 World Cup?
Oh, John, man. Jeff Hurst.
Incorrect.
Oh, no.
Time. That was it.
Fine. Good effort, though. Good effort on Jeff Hurst. So, okay, let's see if Corey gets any of these. France beat which country in the World Cup final?
Croatia.
Correct.
Oh, they beat us in this one. Sorry.
Okay. Which striker was the leading goal scorer in the Prem for 3 consecutive years from 2003 to 2006?
Is Thierry Henry?
It is Thierry Henry.
Mate, cracking me up with Aguero.
That's just bad as the Van Persie one, that.
That's worse. That's definitely worse. I was like, Aguero? I got to like 2011. It's the pressure.
Which is the other one? Okay, which Englishman has managed the most games in the Prem?
Moise. Is it Moise?
It's not. Good effort.
Who is it? Sam Allardyce?
Oh, God, I don't know. Who's
Harry Redknapp.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
How's it not Hodgson?
Okay.
Oh, English manager, I just said Moise.
Someone's in Oscar's front room, I can see. He keeps looking up.
Which player was top scorer of the 1966 World Cup? I'll give you a clue. It wasn't an Englishman.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
Was it like Eusebio? Maybe. I don't know.
Did you maybe look at the live comments there?
I love how he's trying to
I swear on my life, I never saw it.
Oscar, he went like that. Is it Eusebio?
No, honestly, I never saw it.
Sorry. I know West Ham won that World Cup, mate, but I saw.
Is that right?
There. Yeah, was it?
Is that Eusebio was the right answer?
Yeah, Eusebio.
That's right.
Maybe a half mark for that one. Maybe a half mark. But anyway, three points there for Joe. It is an improvement on last week, mate.
Two last week, so 5. I've got 5, yeah. We'll say 5. I'm top at leaderboard.
But I guess, guys, let's just go back on to one last thing before we sign off. Our lovely sponsors, Football Prizes. Look at that. I mean, look at that. The Brazilian superstar, the future Brazilian international, Rafinha, is going to be better than Neymar in a couple of years. Signed a framed shirt. Black Friday price, $3.95. Get on it, guys. We started at the start of the video. Get on it, guys, before we sell out of tickets on that one. Make sure you check them out. Football Prizes, $3.95. Get on it, guys. Just over 5 days left on that one, guys. And let's go on to some other lovely bits and pieces as well. Some lovely more Leeds gear. That one on the top left there, custom made, Marcelo Bielsa, signed and framed, Leeds United montage. Check it out, guys. Once again, $3.95 on that one. And to the right hand side, he might not be at Leeds anymore, but he'll always be Leeds. Jimmy Milner, Liverpool legend, Leeds legend, Premier League legend, $3.95. Check that one out as well, guys. And in the middle, again, he is born in Leeds. He will play for Leeds at some point. His dad's a Leeds legend as well. Erling Haaland, the hottest property in Europe at the moment. Get ahead of the curve, guys. Get that shirt in your living room because he is going to be the next superstar. $4.95 on that one. Framed Erling Haaland shirt. And along the bottom as well, we've already mentioned Rafinha, Pedro Neto, Tanguy Underbelly. If you're not a Leeds fan watching this, top quality merch as well. Some wonder kids on there and the Premier League legend. Check them out, guys. Football Prizes. Get on it, guys. And I guess, guys, I've said guys quite a lot of times there again.
Yeah.
Lads.
Nearly as much as you say, etc., etc., etc.
Etc., etc. Because I can't think enough to say what I was going to say, but I just throw in etc. in there and you can kind of move on. Etc. anyway. Lads, once again, absolute legends. Joe, Corey, again, brilliant Friday night football before the whistle blows. And we'll be back tomorrow afternoon. What time are we saying, mate? About 5 o'clock, just before 5, we'll be going live.
Yeah, what time do we kick off?
5:30 kick-off, so about 5 o'clock-ish, we'll be going for the old watch-along.
Yeah, I think so. Just big shout out as well. Someone's just commented, Oscar's selling techniques. The Rafinha shirt is already sold out. It's gone. Yeah. It's gone. You did say, mate. You did say.
I did say, he is the wonder kid. He is going to be a future Brazilian international at some point. And hopefully he does it at Leeds, guys, anyway. But Corey, thanks once again for joining us there, guys.
No worries,
I guess we'll leave it there. Check out the watch along tomorrow. Post-match reviews, a bit of everything. Sunday night we'll be doing something as well. Back on it, Monday Night Football. We are aiming to get something out to you every single day. 7 days a week, 24/7, all Leeds TV. Get on it, guys. And like, this video. Just like the video, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on, hang on. Just before we go, I asked for 100 likes before we went. And I think, what did we max out at? It's just not good enough. I'm just disappointed. We've got 79 and 2 dislikes. So 77, really. It's just not on. You need to up your game. But, yeah. I think that's us, isn't it?
All right. We'll pop off anyway. We will see you later, guys.
Peace out.
See you later, guys.